everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. And before we go any further, I just want to take a moment just to say thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of Motivation Suite with April community. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm so happy to be able to have a platform in which we are discussing things in the arena and sharing in content in the arena of all things lifestyle enriched by motivation, inspiration, and mentorship. That means so much to me. I am just so connected with those concepts, and I'm just so glad that we're building our community here at Motivation Suite with April. I happen to notice that we had a few subscribers to the family, and I welcome you, and I thank you for joining. I thank you for all of you ride or dies that have been there since day one, and for the ones who have come along the ride as Motivation Suite with April keeps trekking on. And for those who may be new and finding us here for the first time, I would just like to say welcome. I hope that you will consider and then subscribe and be a part of the family, because you know what? There is always room in the suite. And as I shared earlier, I am April, and or maybe I didn't share that. So I am sharing that now. I am April, and I enjoy doing content in the arena of lifestyle enriched by motivation, inspiration, and mentorship. And we just have a good old time over here, relaxing and just talking about things that are important and relevant in all of our lives from one point to another. At some point we may be talking about these things, discussing these things. So I just really do appreciate the rapport and all of the just wonderful commentary in regards to these subject areas, because it really is just fun to do. It's fun to get together and authentically have a conversation with one another and just really, fellowship in that. So today's video, as you can see, we are talking about success. So yes, we are. We are going there. And we're not only talking about success, but we're talking about success and happiness, and if they coexist. So of course, as me and Mia are going through and discussing this very heavy conversation here, I would love to know your comments and thoughts in regards to this particular area. So please make sure that you're jotting those down in the comment section. I would love to have some communication, going on in the comment section. Let's go ahead and start a conversation in regards to this area. I really would like to know what your thoughts are on that. Do you feel that they do exist? And if you do, why? And if you don't, why not? It would just be really interesting. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our special guest, because yes, this video is actually going to be attached to our Let's Chat About It series, which is a new series here on the platform that I'm just so excited to do with my very best friend Mia. So she is back today to go ahead and tackle this area as well with me. So without further ado, let's just bring her on, shall we? Oh, and don't forget, make sure that you get yourself a drink of whatever you like. And I hope that you enjoy the video and, sit back, relax, and let's get on with the show. Hey, Mia!
Hello, April, how are you?
Oh, look at you rocking it already. I am doing good. Now, we'll have to say, and community here, I didn't share about this already, but I took a bit of a tumble a couple days ago, and I'm kind of on the mend at this point.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's ironic that we're talking about this subject area, meaning because we're talking about success. And I'm telling you what, my week did not start off successful, and there was no happiness to be found in that. So I am hoping for better days for the rest of the week, and it's already Thursday. So things better get quick. So how are you doing, lady?
I'm doing great. Hello to the Motivation Suite community. It is awesome to be here with you once again. Yeah. I am excited. I'm charged up on today. I tell you, we got the music going, and I just feel a positive vibe in the atmosphere. I hope you can catch it through this broadcast, because we're going to be doing some awesome talking on today, and I just feel really good.
That is so good. I am so excited to see that he's contagious. Don't we love happiness around here? We just love happiness. So one of the things that I think about with success and happiness is sometimes it can kind of be a bit of an oxymoron because, depending on how your life is going, success may not always equal happiness.
Yes.
And depending on what your level of success is, will determine that, quite frankly. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting to really take those two areas and see if we can find out today, once and for all, can they coexist? So hopefully we'll be able to do that by today's video. And like I shared again, community, make sure that you are dropping down your comments in the comment section below. We would love to know your thoughts about this. And I think that we're going to probably have some fun turns in this conversation. So I'm ready for it.
Me too.
Now, I also think that this area is one that's very much a timeless and a timely topic area, right? Because we discuss this from generation to generation. I don't think any generation has been left unscathed when it comes to success and happiness together and apart. Because again, depending on what your level of success is, what you see success is going to really determine how you walk in life when it comes to those areas. And if you can find that for yourself, So I think that one of the first considerations is really defining what success is to you. Because I think in this day and age, and I'm sure this is not new to now, but we tend to, compare ourselves and compare our situations with other people. A lot of times, it's just a human thing. We try not to. We try to stay in our own bubble and focus on our own grass because, you're not worried about the grass is greener if you're worried about your own, right?
Yes.
But, at the end of the day, we are human and it does happen sometimes. We just have to be really cautious of that and, really give ourselves a bit of a break sometimes. If there's areas in which you can make some changes, some fundamental changes and some shifts, then by all means do so,
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when you are determining what your level of success is, you really need to make sure that you are keying on points that make you feel the success and not so worried about the other. So, as we're opening that up, what's your thoughts on that thus far?
When I think about success, my definition of success really has changed as I've gotten older, as I've had life experiences. At one point in time, to me, success was getting my driver's license. At one point in time, success was graduating high school. At one point in time, success was, that first job.
Yes.
But now that I'm a little bit older, hopefully a little bit wiser, when I think about success, I'm thinking more along the lines of stability. I'm thinking more along the lines of peace. I'm thinking more along the lines of inner strength. And just being able to have that whole person concept in every aspect of my life fulfilled.
Yes.
So, I think it's wonderful that we're talking about this today because, so many people, they make success out to be something that's really not genuine. And they allow it to be influenced by, and you touched upon this about, what other people are doing, what they see on social media, and you got to be genuine when you talk about success because, again, success is really what you make of it. Success could be simply just getting up and getting out of the bed. For some people, that's a struggle. That's a real struggle. So to be able to achieve that is a wonderful thing. And I just really believe that we've got to be very genuine and authentic when we talk about what does success mean.
Yes. Oh, I love those words. Authentic and genuine. Absolutely. I love that. And I love what you share about how as we get wiser and we get more mature, more seasoned in life, we start doing things maybe a little bit better and more enhanced as we have taken all of those things that we have learned along the way. And success does tend to kind of turn its head a little bit because I think you start to look at the value of what your success level is and maybe getting even more realistic as to what type of things you're willing to do to get to a certain level of success as well. Sometimes you may find that, in a particular position that you might want to hold that you may not want to do all of the things that it may take, to have that high powered job, maybe doing something that is a little bit more lateral in the sense that gives you more time to spend at home or more time to do other things is important. And sometimes those things drive you. And for some others who are high-powered individuals who don't have time for people at all, it won't drive them at all to be sitting and watching TV and watching a movie with family and friends. They just want to get
Yes.
the next deal. So yes, we definitely, it really is no right or wrong answer in that. I think that you just need to make sure that you understand that for yourself. And I think if you're honest with yourself and you're authentic with yourself, and I love those two words, you will find yourself an easier path taken when it comes to, finding some, hopefully, smidgen of happiness with your success. Because it all for, if not to have some form of happiness.
And it takes the stress away too. Because if you're constantly thinking about, well, what does this person think? What does that person think? What does that person over there think? What is that person over there going to say? If that's constantly the voices that you're listening to in your head, it's going to be very challenging for you to focus on what you need to focus on.
Absolutely. It's the white noise that none of us asked for. And that none of us are going to really benefit from. And they're just distractors. They really are. So, you've got to take stock of that as well at some point. If you're one of those people who are denier, that just got to get with the reality that they're time-wasting distractors, and let's just kind of push that aside and start making a real plan with some real action, ahead to get to that success. And then hopefully along the way, obtaining of happiness. Because I don't think that you should have to go through a whole lot of hoops to get the happiness. I think that you should be able to get that along the way. Even if you got to create it.
Yes.
It's like a Christmas event or something with family and friends. You know how sometimes things don't always work out the way that you envisioned it in your head. So you're like really struggling to make this photogenic moment happen, and boy, is it a lot of work. So sometimes you got to create your happiness, even if you got to fight through it. So yeah, definitely, it's one of those things that I always say that you've got to really limit the negative noise, the white noise. Take what you can from individuals that you actually would take advice from, and then take it with a grain of salt at some points. And sometimes you may have to take full-on advice. It just depends, but you'll know what's best for you. So definitely, take the time to evaluate how that fits for you, not just what is coming from one side information to you. That's really important. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Now, I think one impediment, and there's probably could be many of them, but we'll draw it down for time's sake, for success and a happiness coexisting marriage, is mindset. And you kind of touched upon that a little bit when you, in regards to, the white noise and listening to others. It really does come down, in my opinion, to what you are dialoguing with yourself internally. What kind of conversations are you having in your head? You do believe what you say. And if you're constantly telling yourself, hey, look, I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't do this. Oh, I don't have the ability to do this. Then you're never going to really find that space to where you can get success. And you're not going to find that space to get happiness. See how interesting that is, that both elements work for both things?
Yes.
Maybe not so much of an oxymoron after all, right? And maybe right now we're starting to see that they can exist if you're taking the right steps to evaluate the importance of your mindset and really ensuring that you are including the essence of happiness along with your success. So it's not just what would be successful to me? Is that house going to be successful to me? Is that car going to be successful to me? Maybe also be looking at is, well, will that car and that house really make me happy? What kind of joy is that giving me? What kind of uplift am I getting from that? How is that helping me? I always go back to it, be a better person. Because at the end of the day, that's really what matters. Not a car, not a house, not all these worldly things. But it really does matter how you show up. So mindset, for sure, I think is truly an impediment to not being able to see the parallel between success and happiness. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that a lot of times we get caught up in materialistic things, and sometimes it can be a hindrance to what's really important. I think about, how we're coming out of COVID right now. And so many of us literally got a slap in the face about what was important, what was priority, what was not.
Yes.
So you talked about, cars, the houses, and I'm absolutely not saying that you don't deserve a nice house, that you don't deserve a nice car, because you absolutely deserve that.
Yeah, I know I do.
Yes, and then some. But, what would happen, using COVID as an example, what would happen if that was taken away from you? Would you still be able to be happy? Several people lost their jobs. Yeah. Several people lost their homes. Several people had their cars repossessed. So now that those material things are no longer in their life, what is it that's sustaining them? What is it that's motivating them to get up in the morning and to keep going? Right. Or did they simply just stop? Because I don't have the fancy car anymore. I don't have the big house anymore. I had to move to an apartment. I know someone who literally had to go from having a home to moving in with somebody, because they lost their job and it was just hard financially. Right. That was the reality of it. We're talking about being genuine and authentic. But are you happy?
Yes.
Wherever you are, you've got to see yourself as a seed being planted there and be willing to grow wherever you are. You got to try and make the best of it. So if you move, for example, from a 2-story home to a 1-bedroom apartment, can you still be happy?
Right.
And you don't want to shortchange your successes, because your successes can come in many shapes, many sizes. It can come in just small things.
Absolutely.
So even those small things, we have to give ourselves a pat on the back. We've got to appreciate our value, our worth. That mindset, as you were touched upon, is so important, because it's all about perspective. It's all about how you see you. How do you see you? When you look at yourself in the mirror, do you see yourself as successful? You could be working literally at Walmart. Do you see yourself as successful as a Walmart greeter? Because in actuality, a Walmart greeter, that could be the first person that you see that morning, and their attitude, the way they greet you, can really set the tone for your day. I've gone to Walmart a lot of times and been in a crappy mood. But when I see that greeter, they're smiling. Hey, good morning. How you doing? It's a great day. I'm like, okay, it is a great day. Just from that person's energy and from, their happiness that they're sharing with me, I'm happy now. Yeah. So it's the little things that we've got to remember and not to take for granted.
Oh, so true. How infectious is that, right? I mean, it's energy. I love all things energy. So it really is that way. You could definitely walk into a space and be in the worst of moods. And like you said, have somebody come greet you with a smile, tell you how you're doing, and you can't be mad no more.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Oh, I miss greeters. But it's so true. It really is all about mindset. And like you said, all about perspective, how you look at things. When they say that a problem is not really a 100% situation, it's 90% your attitude and 10% the problem, So, looking at any way that you can mitigate the issues that are associated with the problem, kind of take away its power and, kind of appreciate some positivity, or at least, if anything else, some motivation to make a change. Because like I said, with motivation, you do not have to have any type of feeling about it. You just have to have action. That's it. So if 2 things you have take from me today: 1, progression is always what matters, because perfection does not exist. And 2, you need to always, always, always remember that again. So it's just, one of those things that definitely looking at the concept of what you can do to really uplift yourself is so important. So, turn off that essence of wanting to go right for the jugular, because you can't do it when someone's smiling at you and asking you if you're having a good day. You just gonna, I'm gonna have a good day, because look, energy is energy. So,
it is. It is. It absolutely is.
So I'm thinking that a second impediment would be, here we go, time management.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's an interesting one, right?
It is.
What I mean by time management, because I got to throw a little bit of a curveball on this one. It's time management with your priorities. So first of all, you got to establish what your priorities are. If you don't know what the priorities are, then how do you know what's supposed to be important to you? Because look, the job may not necessarily be important to you. It may be a priority because you need to make money to pay bills, but it may not be as important to you. And if your attitude about that situation is negative, you may find yourself in a position that will no longer let that be a problem for you, but not in a good way. You know what I'm saying? So definitely looking at priorities and how you set up priorities, really evaluating what's important to you. Is family important to you? Is marriage important to you? Relationships of any type important to you? Are those things what you need to balance out your week and your day? So if that's the case, then working 90 hours a week isn't going to cut it, you know? So looking at how you prioritize your life, how you prioritize the people in your life, really will help to boost up the happiness factor associated with your success. Because look, success can be very lonely at the top, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
You have no one to share it with. So, you know, if you're one of those individuals who don't need anybody, more power to you, you know, but a lot of us are not that way, no matter what we try to tell ourselves. So yeah, it's really important to just, I feel, to look at really establishing what is important to you in the first place. Because after you have decided what is success to you, to find that, and it doesn't have to be like your whole life's work. You know, it could just be what's success for the next 6 months at this point. You know, you're not going to get it all figured out. You know, we make these life decisions like marriage and having kids based off of what you are and what you're doing at the time. The rest of it is what you hope to be doing, you know, what you hope for it to do. So, yeah, you got to look at certain things from the perspective that, you know, what's really important to you, you know? I don't know. What you think?
You know, I kind of chuckle as you were sharing about time management because humans are so funny, and we're very funny. We're very funny, and we just have a tendency to do what we want to do. Period. You know, and sometimes I shake my head because I don't always get it. But I have to step back and say, well, obviously that was a priority for that person to do it and to do it that way. But I think, you know, it's important when you think about time management, there's got to be balance. There has to be balance because, you know, thinking about success, there's a lot of work involved, a lot of effort involved, a lot of resources involved, and of course there's time involved to be successful. You got to take time to research, to really know, you know, what it is you want to do, what are those things you need to do to get there. You have to count the cost. Does this mean I'm going to have to take extra classes? Does this mean I might have to put in some more hours of work? Does this mean I need to get a mentor? You know, all these different things you have to take in consideration, but there also has to be balance, because if there's not balance, then you're going to be very exhausted and you're not going to want to go forward and make those achievements possible. And ultimately you won't be happy.
No.
So I think that, you know, that time management is really key in helping you to maintain that balance. And, you know, I love time management in the regards that you need to make realistic goals for yourself. Make your goals something that you can achieve that's attainable. If you know that you are not really at a level to do certain things, why put that extra pressure on yourself? Why put that extra stress on yourself? Take small bites. Don't take a big chunk. Don't eat the whole meal. Just take a little bit of the appetizer. Taste it. See how you like it before you dive into the whole meal, you know? So I think that there has to be balance.
Yes, definitely. And I think if you can find a way to put that happy medium between balance and finding out that balance that is right for you, not everything is 50-50, but if you can get, I don't know, 40-60 or 30-70 at times, you're doing much better than all of everything in one area and nothing giving anywhere else. And so I think that balance is so important, very critical when you are trying to assess what you're doing so you can be successful and then be happy about it.
Yes.
Because again, what's it all for if you are not happy? What's it all for? You know, you don't have that as a priority. So definitely think that, time management with your priorities and really giving that balance to all those things is really important. And I think that you will find the formula that can work for you, you know? So I think that really the overall action in my mind when it comes to assessing success and happiness and putting those two together in some kind of harmony, is showing up for yourself. You know, showing up in the world for yourself is showing up for others, meaning participating in life. But remembering that you got to participate and show up for yourself first and then for others, right? Because you can't do one without the other. So it's so important to ensure, I feel, that you have to show up. You have to be involved in other things that help bring you some type of fulfillment. And then that will help in those times where you're kind of dragging in the areas of success. And again, after you assess what that is for you, that will help with that balance, you know, as you shared with your happiness, you know. So I don't know, what you think?
I was sitting here thinking about when I graduated from college. I remember there was I'm going to say a young lady that was 75 years old and getting her degree.
Bless her.
Yes, bless her. Yes. She had prioritized her family, her children first. She was a single mother. And she wanted to see her children get through school, her children get through college. Now, at that particular time, she was starting to get grandchildren. And she said, you know what? I want to get my degree. So her family completely rallied around her because she had completely rallied around them when they needed her. And that for her was being successful. 75 years old, she got her master's degree. Can you imagine that?
I love that.
I do. I love that story. And it was just so phenomenal because, you know, for her, that was showing up for herself. That was showing up for herself, you know, being able to achieve that. Now, will she go get a job? I don't know. She could. She absolutely could. But I think in her mind, it was just being able to say, I did it. This is something I always wanted. I'd taken a back seat for so long, and now is my time for me. And she did it.
Oh, that's a remarkable story because it shows a lot of, you know, really, like you said, showing up for yourself. And it shows that it doesn't matter what part of the season of life that you are in, that you can do whatever you put your mind to. You can make a way and find a way. And I think to have such a monumental event be something that she wanted to do and wanted to achieve, and then to actually work towards that no matter when it was, I think it's remarkable. I mean, it's like, you know, checking off each box off your checklist of items. And here, you know, this obviously was important enough that if she didn't do it, she probably would have felt some regret as she, you know, moved on to the next plane, we'll just say. So to, you know, the testament of not living your life with regret. Well, there you go, you know, just get up and do it, you know, and all things. I'm glad that her family, which honestly, there should be no other type of feeling about it. But I'm so glad they rallied behind her and saw how important that was for her and helped her, you know, to get to that point, whatever she needed, whether it's moral support or whatever the case may be, you know, study buddy, whatever, you know, and did the thing, you know. I love that. That is so special. See, there's good things happening in the world, regardless of what you see on the news.
That's true.
Oh, I tell you, you know, what you gonna do? So I'm wondering, Mia, have we answered, you think, the question of whether or not success and happiness can coexist?
You know, I think that there's probably more that we could dive into. And I'm sure that the Motivation Suite audience would love to hear just a little bit more, You
think so? So what you got? You got something else you think that you would be a good impediment or a good overall action that should be taken to make sure that happens?
You know, I think one of the impediments that we have is just ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
You know, low self-esteem is a strong impediment because for some of us, you know, we feel like we can't do it. We feel like maybe there's nobody that's been in our immediate lives that has ever done it. And what makes us think that we can do it?
Yeah.
There's some people who grow up, thinking, okay, I'm here at this stage. This is as good as it gets. I'm not going to try to do anything better. That's it. And they get complacent in that, which is really unfortunate because there's so much that life has to offer you. You don't have to stay there.
Right.
So many times you hear people say, well, this is what happened to me and these are the things I experienced. And I'm not taking away from any of that, but you do not have to allow your environment to control who you are. Control your environment. You're the one that is the CEO of your destiny. So, you got to take it upon yourself to say, okay, well, maybe I saw this, maybe I experienced this, maybe I had a really huge hurt in my life, but you know what? I want to be successful. I want to have happiness, and I want the two to coexist in my life. Absolutely. So, I think one of the biggest impediments is just ourselves.
Yeah. That's so good. And I think that, to kind of piggyback a little bit, one of those things that Steve Harvey did a whole book about, I think, or at least a whole chapter about it, in regards to get out of your own way. Like, stay out of your own way. Honestly, sometimes our biggest culprits are ourselves. Sometimes it may not be anybody else sabotaging us. It's us sabotaging us, and you got to ask yourself, why is that? What's the issue here? And being able to reflectively do that. I often talk about self-reflection and self-assessment. You have to do that sometimes. Sometimes you got to just take yourself and shake yourself in front of that mirror and say, what is your problem? Because I said we're going to do this, and I need you to help me get there, right? But it's so important to really take stock of being confident within yourself, to know that you can. And like you said, go and get those skills and those resources that are necessary. And you don't have to get everything all at once. You mentioned that in regards to, how you handle getting an objective or goal achieved. You can do things a little bit at a time. This is not a race, honestly. It's not. It's a journey. And you do have to find a way to enjoy those things along the way, because that is your life,
Yes, it is.
You don't really know how much time you have while you're going through the journey. And you really don't know how much you have as far as time when you achieve whatever this goal you said it is. I think they do movies about that stuff where they think, oh, everything's so great. Ooh, pop the champagne, and that's a glump, So you really got to take stock of enjoying and appreciating that journey. But yes, you've got to stay out of your way. You got to, look at, like you said, you can't be the impediment.
And some of that too, I think, is, who and what you're surrounding yourself around.
Yes.
If you're always around negativity, if you're always around people that are complaining, if you're always around those that can't see anything good in anything,
right?
What do you expect? You know what I mean? So you've got to break that cycle. You've got to break that cycle, because if you're always hearing that negativity all the time, it's going to be very challenging for you to get out of that. It's like you're on a merry-go-round and you can't get off.
Yeah, and that is the worst, right? Do you remember that when you were a kid? You're like,
yeah. I remember being on the merry-go-round, and there, some of the classmates would be pushing it to go faster and faster, and I wanted to get off, and they go, no, we're going faster. I'm like, I want to get off. And so I ended up being sick, like really, really sick behind it, because my head was just spinning. But it's just, but it's just, sometimes you got to get off of that negative merry-go-round. You got to say, I'm pumping the brakes on this. Enough of this. If this is, you want to stay on here, you stay on here, but I'm getting off. And I'm going to do something different. Sometimes you got to be the one that stands out. You got to be the one that is the leader.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't pay to be the follower all the time. Even if it means at the present time you're by yourself, somebody will see what you're doing and gravitate towards you. And because you're moving in a positive direction, they'll want to go with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you got to step out, like we always say, got to step out on faith, right? And
Yes.
you have to get out of that negative space. My goodness. And I love like you said, like, what do you expect? Yeah, it's like, you get what you get. If garbage in, garbage out. I mean, if you need it any more plainer than that, right? Whatever you feed yourself is what is going to bloom from that. And negativity is not always a great place to start. It just really isn't. And even if you think you're getting a momentarily element of happiness, it's gonna dwindle because it can't sustain itself. You'll negative yourself out of a situation if that's the lead that you're going with. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. You just gotta surround yourself with the right people, because you won't be successful with the wrong one.
That's true. That's so true.
I mean, my gosh. So yeah, so definitely. So that's really good. Those are really good points. Now, what would you say would be like an overall, I don't know, quick kind of go-to when it comes to trying to marry the success element and the happiness element and how you move forward? Now, we're not talking about the end result really, right? Because those will have their own time, but just kind of making that first step. What do you think would be something that you can do, as we talked about a lot of things that could be impediments to stopping that from happening for you?
And I think it's wonderful how you said that success and happiness is a marriage, because to me that signifies commitment. That signifies commitment. So you got to understand that if you want to be successful in whatever way, shape, or form, and you want to be happy doing it, there's going to be some commitment involved. And in my mind, the first step of doing that is to say, yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do whatever it is. You may want to be a doctor. You may want to be a lawyer. You may want to open up your own business. You might maybe start your own community organization. Whatever it is, the first thing you've got to tell yourself, yes, I can.
Yes.
When you tell yourself, yes, I can, that opens up a world of opportunities for you.
Yes.
And when you start to do the work and getting to those things, set goals for yourself. Write out the vision of where you see yourself. Start putting goals down for yourself. And maybe everything, we've kind of talked about, everything may not happen all at once, but set goals for yourself. A month from now, I want to see myself doing this. 6 months from now, I want to see myself doing this. A year from now, I want to see myself doing this. And then find resources. And there's so many free resources that are available, especially now with, social media, the internet. Find those resources, if you don't already have them at your disposal, that will help you. Get a mentor, get someone that's already doing it. And say, I see you doing it. I see you're successful. Will you take me under your wing and show me the rights, the wrongs, what I should do, what I shouldn't do? And just start from there, honestly.
I love that. And I love that, and it's really about taking those actionable steps that you can actually get success out of, because you don't want to start off with doing things that you're automatically feel like you're not going to be able to do, because you're going to stop yourself right before you even begin. So I love the goal setting. Goal setting is a wonderful thing, because at the end of the day, we're setting goals every day, all day long. You just don't realize it sometimes because you haven't laid it out, or your goals may be as routine as getting up in the morning, going to work, and doing those types of things. But when you're talking about elements that are going to forever change your life, you really want to sit down and really jot those things down. We as I said, we always are visual learners, so you got to see.
Yes. And I think too, every day you should do something towards that goal.
Yes.
Every day you should do at least one thing towards that goal. It could just be maybe reading a book, a chapter out of a book that deals with whatever industry you want to go into. It could be looking up an article. It could be maybe seeing what's going on in your community that is connected to what you want to do. Perhaps see if there's any type of events you can connect with, just to go and see, what does this look like on a larger scale? So I can see in my mind what it is I'm working towards.
Absolutely.
So every single day, do at least one thing that's working towards that goal.
I like that. I like that. So everybody in community, be thinking about that, doing one thing to get you to one of those goals. So that way you can get to some success and have some happiness,
Yes.
And then, if you think of something, right off the noggin right now, drop that down in the comment section, because it would be really nice to have some conversation around these things, because look, we're all in this together, right? I mean, this is the way of the world. We're in it together, so we might as well help each other out.
Yes. Yes. And it's awesome that you said that, because, everybody needs somebody.
Yes.
We're not in this by ourselves. And I know even for myself, I've actually connected with a local women's power group here in the Charlotte area, because I need to be around like-minded women that are doing the same things that I'm doing, that can say, hey girl, you can do this. I can support you. If you're having something, I'll come. If you're doing something, I'll try to, whatever gifts, talents I have, I'll try to contribute. Just hearing their stories, seeing what they're doing, and even seeing, like I mentioned, things on a larger scale. This particular organization, right now they have 5 different locations. That's something I would love. Just here in this area, they got 5 different locations. So that's something I would love to get to at one point in time. So just being able to talk and share and see that it can be done. A lot of times is a lot of motivation.
Absolutely. And remembering the fact that you don't have to always feel great and wonderful and happy about it either. Just do it. Just do it. You'll be happy later, I promise. So that's really wonderful, getting yourself together with groups and like-minded people, which we talked about, being concerned and definitely deliberate in who you have around you, who brings the best out of you, who allows you to see yourself in a light that you want to see yourself in, not what someone else thinks you should be doing, but what you feel empowered to do. And I think that's so important, to really look for ways to help yourself out with that. I mean, none of us are perfect, and we all can use a little bit of help. Mentorship is a wonderful way of getting that help. It's a wonderful way of not only receiving help, but also giving help, being a mentor yourself, being someone there for someone that helps them out as well. Because, look, it's rough out there. And look, and at the same time, some of the stuff we're not inventing, right? There's been other people who've done variations, or maybe exactly the same thing that you've done. The world didn't just begin when you were born. People been doing stuff long time before you. So, get into appreciating that. Get to appreciating the season of having people around who've been there before you. Now, you used to hear from your parents sometimes, I've been where you got to go. Well, yeah. And I think now I'm in a position where I can say that, so lean on those people who have been doing that walk and that you have been doing. And it doesn't matter about age or anything like that. It's about experience and what you are actually doing, and find those who really represent what you want to do, and find those who represent also in a real sociable way of success and happiness. Not always connected to just employment type of elements and aspects, but also to a successful life. So that could also mean, being part of groups and stuff of successful marriages. If you're in a marriage and things aren't going that great, you probably want to have people around you, I would think would be helpful, that are having successful marriages, right? Because energy feeds off of energy. Same thing with your friends, same things with anyone that's around you. And that doesn't mean that everybody has a perfect life, but look for those who are actually leading a successful life, and that's what you want around you. So yeah, I love that. And
you can even start your own group.
You sure can. That's what me and Miss Nia did.
You can start your own peer support group if that's what you need to do. Yes.
I like that peer support group.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's okay. Yes. It really is, because at the end of the day, it's so nice to also know that you're not alone, and that other people have experienced sometimes even more horrendous things, but have experienced things like you, and can be very helpful in maybe giving you advice. I understand that sometimes there is between solicited and unsolicited, but you make your judgment. But it's nice when you ask for someone's advice about something. To get that sage advice is so wonderful. And sometimes you may not have that in your family structure or, in siblings or anything like that. So being able to provide and, get connected with a community that has that full of people, I think that's a wonderful thing. And I really do think that, like you mentioned earlier, we're coming out of this pandemic. For some of us, we probably still feel like we're literally still in it. But, there's a lot of resetting that is happening and a lot of restoration of many different elements of your life that you may have left dormant because you were trying to run to that 9 to 5 every day. So people really start to take stock at what exactly do I want to do? Why do I want to do it? And is that going to bring me some kind of happiness? Notice that is what's being mostly asked about now. How's that going to make me feel? There was a time where I remember people didn't care about how you felt. Well, you know what? It's the pendulum swinging again, and now we care.
Yes.
Now, we're not talking about the negative people who just want to destroy everybody with words. We're talking about those who, really want to take a stock in their life and want to really just start to do things to make themselves better. Because when you're better, then you're better in the world, right? When you're better, when you're fulfilled, when you're happier, you are happier in the world. And it is contagious. And we need more of that. I mean, I need to get a shirt that says more of that. That is what we need. We are lacking in some areas, right? I mean, some places got it unlocked, not all. So we need to, we got some work to do, as I always say, some work to do. So yeah, I mean, it's just so important. It just is. I mean, honestly, this is your life. I mean, what else are you going to do? Honestly, I mean, think about what are you going to do? You better embrace this knowledge.
My gosh.
Else, at least find a way to make yourself laugh. I mean, like, I enjoy having these conversations because one, they can be very heavy because it gets you reflective about your own life. I mean, I don't know about you, man, but sometimes we'll be talking about something, I'm like, ooh, I'm thinking about something in my own.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now I'm sitting here and we're talking about success. We're talking about happiness and motivation, sweet community. I am looking for a job right now.
Talk about authenticity.
I have not landed a job as of yet. So success is something that, I'm working towards in that area, but I'm not allowing it to stop me from being happy. I could be here crying right now. I really could be depressed right now. I could be angry right now. Yeah. But I came on here today. I said, you know what? I'm going to allow happiness to take over. Look, and I believe that it has.
And I think that it will continue. That is so funny. Look here, I told you we get transparency over here all day long.
Oh, yes.
And I didn't tell her how to share that, people. This is what we're getting. You're getting authenticity. You're getting rapport here. Wow. Yeah. But it's going to happen, girl. It's going to happen because...
Yes, I hope so.
It's already happening. At the end of the day, like we talk about mindset, right? It is already happening. We just got to get to the steps to where those two things meet. I just say that to myself a lot too, and of course it's an important thing. Of course, it's a big thing. I mean,
absolutely.
But at the end of the day, God brought you to it. He's gonna bring you through it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be doing a disservice if I got on here and it was like, oh, I just got an attitude. Oh, blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah.
That's not how you overcome.
No.
I want to be an overcomer. So in order to be successful, that means you got to overcome some hurdles. You got to overcome some hurts. You got to overcome some failures, some losses, some letdowns in order to have happiness.
Absolutely. So when you get that next position, because it's already there, right? When you get that and you come back on here around that season of time, then we're going to share the happiness part associated with that.
Absolutely.
Because there is going to be a happy ending to this story, ladies and gentlemen. It's just going to be. Why? Because that's just what I feel and believe, and I know Mia does as well. So, that's just what it is. Look, we are, like I said, we're all in this together. Like, everybody got something going on, So understand that we are not alone. And I mean, just your infectious attitude in this broadcast. I like when you say broadcast. It does so fun. It's so official.
Yes.
You would never know that you're working through that challenge, but you are going to meet it. And I have no doubt about that. Honestly, it's almost like, well, I mean, it's easier for me to say because I'm not in it myself directly. Not in that situation. I got my own situation, but not in that situation. But so I kind of just think, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and that's what we're going to be saying because that's what it is. I mean, you didn't go to school for all that for nothing, right?
Yes. So, I mean, it's ironic that today we're talking about, you know, does success equal happiness? Because success equals happiness, but happiness equals success.
Yes.
It goes both ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like for many people who talk about, you know, positions that they're in that they don't care for and they ain't happy, but they make a whole lot of money. I mean, that sounds like death. I mean, it really does. I mean, honestly, miserable. You know, and I've been in the corporate world as well. So, you know, you do in the corporate world. So we all know the ups and downs of that, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, but you do the best you can. You make the best of it. You be grateful for what you have and all the, and I know from, and no doubt with all the skills and abilities you have acquired over time, which is why I say, people, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about the accumulation. It's all about the journey. And this is the journey. And this is where you're at in this journey at this moment. This too shall pass. And I am a firm believer if God brought you to it, you will get through it. Because look, you haven't done all this stuff. This is one thing I love. You didn't get you here just to leave you here, right? You didn't just come this far to just come this far, you know? This took too much to get to this point. So
that is a true statement. That's a true statement.
Of the conversation. And I'm going to get some of those streamers and stuff so I can, you know, remind me of that. And we will do that. So, I mean, this was a great conversation, really. I love talking about success. And I love it more when I have it. But I love talking about it. I think at least talking about it gets you on the plane of getting to it, right?
Absolutely.
And I most certainly love happiness, and I'm going to get it for me at all costs, no matter what I gotta do to get it. But such important elements and such important areas to talk about. And you know, at the end of the day, these are things that people are dealing with. This is reality for people. You know, it's not fluff, right? It's not fluff. You know, some people might think they don't have time to think about these things. You better have time. Because if you don't have time and you're miserable, guess what? There ain't much left on the other side but more misery. So you better make time. You know, you ain't got nothing but time when it comes to your happiness and how that's going to affect you. So yeah, definitely. So, you know, is there anything else you want to share about success and happiness and the marriage that is?
You know, I love the topic today. We've had such a good time just kind of chatting it up. Absolutely. I'm excited to see the comments from the Motivation Suite community audience. And I know that you guys are going to just chime in and share some enlightening things. So I'm looking forward to reading the comments on this one.
Yes, me too. I'm excited for that, you know. So definitely make sure that you are placing your comments and your thoughts about success and happiness and any well wishes for Mia, because look, you know, she's going to do it. So we're going to be prayers up for her, and she's going to get that. She's going to get that. But definitely make sure that you're leaving your comments down below. We would love to know, you know, your thoughts and your feelings about success and happiness. And again, if you feel they too can exist, I think we've assessed that they can. But if you feel that they can, you know, tell us why you think they can. You know, just a couple of words. And if you feel that it can't, then I'd be interested to know why you may feel that way. You know, and of course, for anyone that has like tips of what you think makes a successful life, hey, drop those down too, because you never know who you're helping around here. You know, might be, I don't know, me, you know. So definitely, I'm so glad that everybody was able to join in. And of course, me, I'm so glad that you were able to join in with me on this conversation, because I couldn't have done it without my bestie. So, you know, I'm just so excited that we did that. And yes, and for everybody, you know, I'm really hoping that you are all going to have a wonderful rest of the week. There's not much of it left until the weekend, so get your some relaxation involved this weekend as well. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing this weekend. Try to stay away from the pollen. How about you, Leah? Do you have anything planned for the weekend?
You know, I'm actually going to have a little bit of fun this weekend. There's a couple of festivals going on, so I'm going to take take the opportunity just to go out in the community, enjoy the beautiful weather, and
Love that.
yes, welcome
Okay.
spring in.
Yes. Well, I'll just live vicariously through you until the phone stops. So whatever fun you're having, you're gonna have to have double so that I can soak some of that up too, Well, everybody, I think that about does it for today's episode. I'm so glad again that you were able to tune in. Again, remember, if you are new here, I hope that you will consider and then subscribe. Subscribe and be a part of the community. There is always room in the suite. Thank you for all of you being here. And until next time, bye.